the safest station in the nation. Here we are on this fantastic Friday, coming to you to bring you some more important information about safety and what's going on in the world. This is Drive Safe Dave coming to you right behind the desk and behind the computer board. Running it as always in the morning is Sir Rick. How are you doing this morning, Sir Rick?
I'm making it happen, Drive Safe Dave. Just trying to pull my weight around here. I know you do most of the heavy lifting, Drive Safe Dave, but I just want to thank you for allowing me to come in there and help you out a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a gift, sir. Some of us call it a curse, but I'm willing to go ahead and do what I have to do to make it work.
You know what? Again, you go above and beyond, and we, America, we thank you, sir. We thank you for your service. We thank you for all you do. Drive Safe Dave, we see, let's just go into that shirt, 35 with a truck turning over. What in the heck's that mean?
Hey, this is a speed limit. This is caution. This is rollover possibility ahead, usually in a curve, wanting you to slow down under the speed of 35 miles an hour to ensure that you don't roll the big truck over. So you will see these usually on curves, on egresses or ingresses onto freeways. They typically are there to ensure that you don't find out you're laying on your side as you come over on a load shift.
Yeah, those signs have always been confusing to me because just when I see 30, it tells me that I need to go 35. So I focus a lot of my effort on going exactly 35, not 36, not 34, 35. And Dave, sometimes that can create a distraction for me.
Why would you sincerely be distracted? Normally, the speed limit signs, they're not asking you to go the limit. They're asking you to go under the limit, but not to exceed. So it just depends on.
I wonder, you know what? Maybe we need to put greater than or equal to or less than. Equal
that
to
would
or less
confuse everybody.
I think.
That would absolutely confuse everybody.
You know what, but that would create new signs, and if we were the sign creators, Dave, we would be in business for a while on there. Dave, we reported yesterday stocks, right? It was in a quarter. Everybody's starting to report them, and we're not done, Dave. We're going to go back into it. So yesterday we did what? We did some Ford yesterday.
Yeah.
Who else we do?
Were
you part of the show yesterday?
Amgen, which I wasn't.
Still not
sure.
even. I don't even know if you're saying it right.
I don't even know.
They're a
who that
biotech,
is.
and I still don't even know what biotech means. But they are one of them companies. Simply a $26 billion company. So obviously they have an idea what they're doing. Maybe America.
We talked about J.B. Hunt reporting.
J.B. Hunt reports. C.H. Robinson reports. All right, Drive Safe. Here we go. You ready? You're not only are you the safety guru, you're a data guy. We learned that the other day as well. You're a big data guy, and now Drive Safe. We are starting to in America and some of these financial guys. E.F. Hutton, all these guys are starting to ask you questions to see where should we put our money at. Before we get going on this, we don't intend any of this to be any kind of information worth anything. If you're taking information from us, let me tell you on this part, don't. I'm telling you not to. This will not hold up in court. Nothing.
No.
This all right, Drive Safe.
Okay, come on.
First quarter's over.
Yep.
Amazon.
Down.
Why down? First of all, let's think about this. They made it was $8 billion last year, first quarter.
Yeah.
And you're saying down. Why down?
I'm going to say, I'm just going to throw it out there.
Just tell us.
Transportation costs.
Okay, so what? Give me a number.
$5 billion, I'm guessing.
$5 billion gain or $5 billion? You're saying they went from $8.1 billion gain.
Yeah, their stocks are down.
Billion.
I'm going to go. Their stocks went down. I'm going to go down.
Yeah. So here we go. So a 3.8 or a $3.8 billion net loss.
That's a lot of money.
First quarter. The first quarter. Hey, Drive Safe. It's first quarter. And talk about that for a second. How could they? Above anybody, and their revenue increased.
Right,
higher revenue, yet they have a $3.8 billion net loss for first quarter.
Yeah, I'm going to say it has a lot to do with transportation costs, both fuel and also outsourcing some of their transportation across, actually going out onto the market and throwing out there and trying to move freight other than themselves.
So they, Dave, and that probably, but so $7.6 billion of their loss was attributed to one thing.
What is it?
Take a guess. It's Thankful Thursday. We're going to move into but it also is a lot of reporting going on with the stocks. Okay, a lot of stock reporting, and here we go, Drive Safe Dave. One of my favorite things is to jump in, give you a name of a company, and because you are
Drive Safe Dave,
you know a lot. You can kind of tell us the kind of quarter this company had.
Okay, let's go.
We're going to open it up. Let me see who we're going to open it up with first. We'll open it up with Ford. Ford reported its first quarter estimates, earnings yesterday. Dave, good, bad, and talk to me about what you think it was. First quarter.
I'm going to go
year over year, and think about all that.
I know. I'm going to go all the shortages and everything, but I am going to go. It was a good year. I mean, a good quarter. I'm going to say it was a good quarter, not a great quarter, but I'm going to say it was a good quarter.
All right, and I don't know what you consider good or not, Drive Safe Dave, but they lost, I think, $3.1 billion.
Okay, that's not bad.
They put a lot of that on Rivian, and they applied like.
Whoa! Hold on a second. We heard Ford. Ford already had the ex-wife, Dave. They already got Rivian. They put everything on that. Rivian. She was no good.
In Rivian too.
Yes.
Didn't
$7.6 billion loss.
Yeah, they invested.
Also attributed to Rivian. Has their quarter came out yet? Let me tell you something. I'm going to say, if you have money invested in that company, I don't know if they're still around or not, but Drive Safe, those are two companies now that have now attributed over $10 billion of loss to them in the first quarter alone.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, and I think Rivian stock's down like
I can't imagine like this helped their stock.
$20 a share.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't they down?
Amazon's took a beating yesterday, like 13% loss after hour trading. It came back to like 8%, but yeah, major hit to their stock yesterday. All right, Dave, we're sticking to transportation. We're sticking to what we know, and we're blessed to have you here, Drive Safe, Dave. I want to, let me put this up here. That's the wrong guy. Let me get Dave up here. You know what? We need to change this to financial advisor, stock advisor, data guy, all these other things too.
National news
we need to do. All right.
International.
USA Truck, 29-year-old company. We see them puttering around the country.
Asset-based company?
Asset-based company.
Power. Good earnings. Solid earnings. 100%.
All right. Drive Safe Dave. USA Truck, a 26% year-over-year increase. Their best quarter in their 29-year history. Earnings per share, Drive Safe Dave, $1.48, up 244%.
Wow.
Yes, they crushed it. Yep. Great job. Asset-based company, Dave. And again, you keep going to that, and why? What does that even mean? Why? Because they have assets. Nobody wants assets. And here you are saying, asset, they made money. That's all I had to hear is those first three letters of that word, and I'm saying bet on it, Dave. Why asset-based? Because that goes against what everybody says.
That's not, but you know what? It goes against, but it doesn't go against what Sir Rick says. And I think we've all learned the long run here, and I'm trying to.
I'm giving you some big bonus points for that. That wasn't scripted or anything. It will be recorded, and we'll use that line many times again from now on.
Of course we will. But you and I both know, Sir Rick, that the asset-based companies were able to go out and renegotiate their contracts, get higher rates on their contracted lanes, and then they did well as the market started to go down and were able to fulfill those contracts and run those. I think they did a great job.
I got one more, Drive Safe Dave. I got one more for you.
Okay, come on.
All right.
2 out of 3 so far.
Forward Air, independent contractor, big time. I think they have company trucks as well. A lot of owner-operators there. Forward Air does LTL, final mile, long haul, a lot of team freight. I think that's really their main focus on that. They as well, Dave, put first quarter estimates out there. Asset-based company, Dave, talk to me.
I'm going to go did good too.
All right. Forward Air, I'm going to talk March first, okay? The month of March for Forward Air, their best month in their history.
Wow. In
March. And Dave, I'm going to talk about that again. Well, I'll just tell you this. So their year over year was up 29%. They estimated, 18 to 22% growth. They hit 29% year over year, so beat their estimates. Their LTL division was their largest gain at 36% growth in that one market alone.
Good for them.
Earnings per share, Dave, went from 80 cents last year, first quarter, to $1.57.
Wow.
$1.57.
That's huge.
not bad, right? Not bad.
That's
and
huge.
Dave, and again, we're going to go to this right here because next week is another large company. And I look at this company kind of a JB Huntish with their 360 program.
Who is
you
it?
have U.S. Express,
wow,
and they have the Variant program,
Yeah,
right? That to me is kind of that same realm there. Dave, what are your thoughts? So we're sticking to the asset base. They're all just crushing it right now, right? They're all crushing it, and for the little guy out there that's not crushing it, they're probably saying, "Well, hold on a second. Last year was my best year. I'm struggling right now, Dave. I'm struggling right now. Why am I struggling?" We're going to answer that, Dave. Here we got a minute before we have to go to our break and then to our interview. But what are you thinking, U.S. Express? They're a large truckload carrier.
I think
right?
I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to crush it. I think they're going to do the big asset-based company, large contracts, big firm. I think they're going to do well.
Wall Street expects their announcement is May 5th, I believe. Wall Street expects a year-over-year decline in earnings on higher revenues for U.S. Express. Expects to take like a 133%, or so here it is right here, a negative 160% decrease over first quarter last year.
Wow.
This is what Wall Street's saying. Dave, talk to me.
I'm going to go. That goes against everything that we're seeing. That goes against everything that we're understanding about the first quarter for all asset-based trucking companies and all trucking companies out there. I don't think that doesn't actually fit into the mold of what we've been seeing going forward in JB Hunt, in all these other companies out there. I just don't. I'm going to say I'm not following Wall Street in this quarter.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and so anxious to see what this number does here, and anxious to see if they hold true. What happened? I mean, are they also part of the Rivian? Maybe they're part of Rivian too.
I didn't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's the new thing right now. It was a COVID year, now it was Rivian. Everybody's going to blame everything on Rivian, I guess. I don't know on that drive, said Dave, but there was an article in the paper that was kind of going over this, and then it kind of shifted gears to independent contractors. And for the independent contractor out there that's struggling this first quarter, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, they had a great January.
Yeah, they did.
February wasn't bad, but March has been a bloodbath. And you're hearing these numbers, and maybe you're thinking it's turning around for you. I don't think it's going to happen on here.
No.
Dave, we saw the articles in the paper, and I'm going to say something again that we've been speaking on, is that the independent contractors that they spoke with are down between $2,000 to $3,000 cash a week.
Wow.
Difference in margin, in profit, in cash flow, or whatever you want to call it. They were making $5,000 to $7,000 a week during last year, most of last year. This year they are down $2,000 to $3,000. We know, Dave, it's that spot market price, right?
Yeah, it's that spot market, not protected by the fuel surcharge.
Yes.
And the high cost of fuel right now up there. It has leveled off. It hasn't changed dramatically in months now, and it seems to be holding around that $5 mark, a little bit above the $5 mark, and it seems a pretty steady line. I would like to see it go down eventually. I mean, I think it would benefit everybody in the American economy if fuel costs weren't so extreme. I truly believe that, and the contractors would benefit a great deal from that in the long term. But as of right now, in energy costs, we genuinely don't have a great solution right now on dollars. I mean, to get that price down, right?
For sure. Hey, Dave, I have a couple things here. We're going to go, and I promise you we're going. You guys are like, can you go to a break already? No, we can't. You know what? I control the show so we can do what we want. Dave, I got a couple of headlines here. I just wanted to get your thoughts on them.
Okay,
just headline only.
All right.
Out of Wall Street Journal today.
All right, let's
Wall Street, I don't know if you can come after me for what I'm saying. I'm just reading the headline.
I know.
Here we go.
Nobody's mad at you.
Drive safe, Dave. Stolen guns tied to rise in killings. Does that make sense? Right? I mean, thieves are stealing guns. It was probably would rise, and I just thought that was an odd thing. I mean, really, duh. You know what?
Okay.
I mean,
and also I think it has a lot to do with not just small amounts of stolen guns, but I think large thefts, like armories and stuff like that. I think that has a little bit to do with it.
I have another one here, Dave. I want you to. This was an important one, Dave, and I can't believe here it is. Okay, Dave. Headline.
Okay, let's go.
And this is serious.
Front page or center in the middle?
It's front page of the Ukraine crisis. Well, second page of Ukraine crisis.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Russian mines threaten farms. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
100%.
Right? I mean, I'm thinking, so I read that and I'm thinking, man, yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you're out there trying to pick your cabbage, out there on the farm.
Boom! Or you're plowing, or you're running your tractor and you run over a mine. I mean, those happen.
But when you go to read the article, in case you're wondering, no, that's not. They're like bombing all their farm equipment, so they can't farm. It's not. I don't think it has to do with the cabbage pickers of Ukraine going out there.
Unfortunately, landmines become after conflict has moved away from that region. Landmines are probably one of the most dangerous, and they kill children, they maim children, they hurt people's lives. And they hurt people going on for years, Sir Rick, not just days, weeks, or months as they do cleanup. They have a hard time cleaning those up for years to come. And it may be 10, 20 years before they get those done. And that's how dangerous they are, and that's how long time they stay around and cause damage and destruction, especially when the military lays them out in mass quantities.
Hey, Dave, we're going to come back with the interview with Derek Williams, another podcaster. He's one of our brothers from another mother. He's coming up next. But, Dave, before we go to him, he's brought to you by Utility Pro. Drive safe. I continue to do my thing. I am making a difference. And you know what? I look daggum good wearing my Utility Pro gear. You, too, can have the same thing. You can look like this, body and all. Go to utilityproware.com. Put in BCB20. And, Dave, can you imagine getting paid a discount? Paid, it's almost like getting paid to look like this.
Hey, it's almost better than free. I'm just telling you right now, as the more you spend, the more you make, and you have an opportunity to
new
come
business
home with
model. New business model. I like it. Coming up next, hey, we got an interview we're going to roll into. This is BCB Live Drive Safe. What are we?
The safest station in the nation. This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high quality, ANSI certified, high visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. There's just a special vibe in here today. I feel a special connection, like we've got a brother from another mother with us somewhere in our presence today. Dave, can we hone in our brother? Are you out there, fellow podcaster? Can we bring you in to a little bit of Safety Struck BCB Live? Are you out there somewhere? We're calling there. Drive safe, Dave.
There he is.
Just like that.
Yes. Greetings, everyone. How's everybody?
What's going on, Derek?
Everything is good. I can't complain, man. The weather is cool. Smelling a lot of pollen. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Oh, man, sneezing.
Benadryl.
Yeah, Benadryl. There you go. Exactly. Not while you drive, though. Let me tell you something.
Not while you're driving. Do not take it while you're driving. Zyrtec, a non-drowsy.
There you go. That's the key.
Hey, so Derek, we have a fellow podcaster in here. We don't get to talk to fellow podcasters very often. Hey, welcome, and tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show. I really appreciate that. It's an honor and a pleasure. About my podcast, basically it's a business-to-business informational platform, and it's by the name is the Trucking Entrepreneurs Podcast. And basically our core we reach out to is small businesses. But of course, we deal with all size businesses from mid to large as well. We hope with our guests that we have that they can, with the products and the services that they offer, that it would be appealing to other entrepreneurs and businesses within the trucking and logistics industry. So it's a platform that we showcase businesses in the highest light and platform out there to get them, publicity and advertising.
Hey, Derek, and while we're talking about it, why did you pick, why trucking? Why are you focusing in that trucking industry and in this logistics area of focus?
Well, it's going to be a very short answer to this, and you're probably going to laugh, but two things, God and my wife. And with that, I had previous training. My first intentions was to become a freight dispatcher. I took 2 different courses to become a freight dispatcher. But at the end, it was like no more than 2 days later, God just took the taste out of my mouth. I had no more interest in it whatsoever. So combined with that, and then with prayer and meditation, took that, and then with my wife convincing me that, hey, you might as well take what you learn and apply it towards the trucking industry. So, from there it's been history.
Right, and so we're talking trucking. Who do you bring on your show? Who do you podcast? Who do you interview? And who do you talk to?
Basically, it's a wide open. You're talking about from people that do retention and recruitment, dealing with driver awareness, driver safety. A good majority is small businesses, is my guess. I think about 1 or 2 of them are, I would say, in the larger corporation type.
Gotcha. Hey, Derek, I want to go back to one of your earlier comments. You talked about God, prayer, meditation, which, big believer, obviously you listen to that, but that ultimate one you said there, when mama says something, when the wife says something, that's like, you can call it the Holy Spirit or whatever it is.
Let it be written.
Let it be written.
Let it be done. Yeah, it's on the tablets.
Oh, man.
Yes, indeed. I was kind of hesitant to give her a little credit because me and her, we have a relationship where we constantly joke each other all the time. So I was a little hesitant to give her credit on it, but I was like, what the heck, I'll go ahead and give her credit.
You might as well give it because she's going to take it.
She's going to take
it anyway. Yeah, it was my idea.
Credit or credit cards. She's got them both.
Exactly.
Oh, man. He's opening up a can of worms for you.
Yes, sir.
Sleep with one eye open tonight. That's all I got to say.
There you
go. Sleep with one eye open. So this month here is Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and we've been doing a lot in our podcast in talking to people about distracted driving. I know, and I've seen some of your episodes. You had one episode in particular in which you talked about distracted driving. When you talk to somebody about that, what do you hear from from the people you talk to about the distractions, about being on the road, and ways that maybe they're learning to put those distractions away?
Yes, that's a huge one. One of my guests that sticks out like a sore thumb is Mrs. Tasha Harrison Spring. She's with Texting is Risky Business. She's the primary one when you mention safety that I think about, because her whole purpose is to basically try to get people to put down their phones, stop texting, stop talking on the phone while driving, because the data and statistics on that is, really terrible as far as the accidents that occur with that, and of course deaths. And with her, if you get a chance to listen to the episode, you will hear how she took a tremendous tragedy and it wound up turning into her calling. And thankfully, the accident didn't kill her and the other people that she wound up hitting. But now, like I say, it birthed her calling, which now she's on fire trying to help change people's lives and save people's lives out there. And as you all know, even though I've never been per se truck driver, I drove box trucks many years ago. Driving an 80,000-pound missile on wheels, and if someone is trying to text or use their phone inappropriately or whatever, that's basically like a death wish waiting to happen,
It is, and right with you on what you're saying. Never been over the road, drive safe, Dave. Many years of driving over the road, and here's the deal. The distractions aren't. It's when you're driving the big truck, you can't be distracted off that cell phone because there's so many of these daggum four-wheelers that are already doing it, and they just seem to think that they're above the law, that they're not going to affect anything, that they're, you know what, I'm driving a car, I'm going to be just fine. It's the truck driver. And that's part of what we try to tell everybody is that distractions are real. You've got to not only watch out for yourself, but for those four-wheelers out on the road as well.
Right. I totally agree. And, you know, you couldn't pay me to be a truck driver now because I wouldn't have the patience because, you know, I was going to the doctor the other week and just so happened I was behind a truck. And I was a good distance. I don't believe in getting close up to him, of course. You know, that's just common sense. But I followed behind them. And then the right lane, I seen this little Mazda, you know, souped up car coming down the slow lane, but they won't drive slow. And here they go flying past me. And as they was coming up on the truck, I could tell the truck was trying to pick up their speed because they was pulling away from me. You know, I guess their intentions was trying to block them to keep them from coming over to cut them off somewhat. But they didn't succeed. The car came over, and it probably was at no more than a half a car distance left. Came over, the truck wound up tapping the brakes real hard. And, you know, it's just things like that where a trucker, my hat is off to them in credit because they have to deal with so much. Like you said, they have to not only think for themselves, but also anticipate what other drivers may potentially do or not do correctly. And I don't care what anybody say, it's a sacrifice what they do, man. And my hat is off to them.
Yeah, you know, and as we talk about that, you know, 4 out of every 5 automobile trucking fatalities are the four-wheelers' responsibility. They're the cause of the accident, 4 out of 5. Wow. So only 20% is the truckers usually typically at fault in all the statistics. Hey, so you've been talking to a lot of interesting people in the industry. What are some of the things you just learned that you didn't know? Because some of the fun stuff that we get to do, and as we get to interview people as well, we learned interesting things that I think that I had never looked at a specific way before or understood a certain way. What are some of those things that you've done?
I know one of them that I can think of right offhand is I never knew anything about a second chance program. And I didn't know anything about it until a couple of my guests, excuse me, one of them was Mrs. Jerry Banks with LOTR Recruiting Transportation Services. And another was Miss Camille Gaines, which is, she's the owner of Rig on Wheels Recruitment Services. And one of the many functions and things that they do is they have a second chance program. And like I said, I never knew anything about that, but I think that is an awesome program to help truckers get back on their feet and get back in their trucks, those that, you know, go through the proper protocols to meet the demands and everything. But it's a blessing to have that in place because everyone needs a second chance or third chance or what have you. And, you know, if you, I'm pretty sure you all know about it, but, you know, that's where drivers have a violation of FMCSA, Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse.
Yes, sir. And when it comes to that drug and alcohol clearinghouse, you know, we speak to a lot of trucking companies on that. And I'm going to kind of go to your point on that, is once you enter into that drug and clearinghouse program and you take all those, the proper tests, you do all the everything happens. We tell it to our listeners, we tell it to the drivers, is that it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a job. It is tough to get a job once your name gets in that drug clearinghouse program. And what you're saying, though, and Dave, I think this is something we need to talk about, is that there is hope for you. And Derek, we'll throw people over to your website to look at that podcast you did, because some folks have got to find out who is participating in that second or third chance program, because so many companies, once you're on there, you're blacklisted. You're not going to get off.
That's true. That is very true. And like I said, these two companies, you know, they're here to help with things like that. There may be others out there, but I just know of these two because I had them as a guest.
So, and Derek, you know, and as you've come to know us and our program, our genuine focus here in trucking in the industry and as a whole is on safety and promoting safety throughout the industry. It doesn't matter for me or Rick or what have you on what topic you want to talk about, whether it be driver fatigue, whether it be, you know, some of the other things that distracted driving or drug and alcohol awareness, and it doesn't matter to us. All of these ideas and principles of safety are our core belief system in what we do here at BCB Live. It is to talk about it, get it out in the open, and educate. We want to do that. What are some of the safety issues beyond just distracted driving are you bringing up out there to your podcast?
Right now, thus far, that would be the biggest one as far as with Tasha Harrison Springs right now. And also with drug use, like with Mrs. Jerry Banks. I know we mentioned, or she had mentioned a little bit about some of the, what's the proper word I can say, some of the different abuses, alcohol abuses, like, for example, I think marijuana, of course, is the biggest
violation.
Biggest violation. Then cocaine, I think that's somewhere right in the top 3 or what have you. And as far as safety, I found cocaine to be kind of a surprise, because I'm like, wow, you imagine every time I'm driving around a truck, I'm thinking about that. I was like, man, is this person on cocaine, or is they on some type of drugs? It just really has my mind wondering. So, you best believe I never get too close, if I can help it, around a truck or what have you. And that could be someone in the car too, so it doesn't have to be a trucker.
But hey, Derek, I want to jump in on one of the things you said, because I think it's important that we continue as podcasters to educate the drivers out there, because sometimes they're in a state, Colorado, Nevada, that allows that allows marijuana. It's legalized there, but it doesn't mean we can do it in the trucking. We fall under the federal guidelines, and Dave, that's a little different, right?
It's 100% different. The federal law under the FMCSA does not allow any controlled substance whatsoever under their sheet of guidelines. So you can't, even though the state may be regulated, the federal government holds true exactly what it can and can't have in the system, and what it tests for and what it will not allow. And marijuana use, even though in some of the states have allowed it to be used, it cannot be in the trucking industry, cannot be allowed in the trucking industry. And if you fail that test, then you fail the FMCSA drug test.
Right. Yeah. That all, plays a big part of safety. I mean, some people may not think it is big a thing, but, to me it's huge. I don't care, marijuana, heroin, all of it. That's huge, man, because, that can have a huge impact on a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want anybody under any circumstances driving impaired. We don't condone it. Actually, we talk about it here. We talk about it on our show a lot, that we want you 100% behind the wheel all the time. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter if it just doesn't matter the situation or the condition you're in. It's necessary and primary that you maintain that 100% focus behind the wheel. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're doing one of the most dangerous jobs in the United States of America, being behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler on a heavy trafficked road. How is that not necessary for you to function at your 100% capacity? How is that not the need and the desire for all involved that you be ready and out there 100% all the time?
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with you, and not to hold you all up, but I will say definitely safety is huge with me, and something I plan on getting more and more involved in and learning more about pertaining to that subject in the industry. But another reason is key with me is I lost a cousin some years ago behind a drunk driver. It wasn't dealing with a truck, but it was a drunk driver, and they wound up somehow getting on the interstate, one of the major interstates here, in the wrong direction, wound up hitting them head on, and my cousin and 2 other people were killed in the car, and only one survived. So whenever I hear someone impaired or drunk, or hear someone say, man, I'm going to get tore up tonight or whatever, and then it makes me feel some type of way, man. I just don't like that.
Yeah, our hearts go out. Yeah, it's just there's no room for that in any part of truck driving or driving the car, any of that. Let's talk hot topics for a second. I mean, What are you hearing about more than anything? I mean, it wasn't just 6 months ago, 3 months ago, there weren't enough drivers, and all of a sudden there's not enough freight, and now you got the fuel prices going up. You still have turnover. There's no trucks, there's no trailers, there's freight, there's no freight. Man, what's the hot topic you hear about?
I would say definitely that driver shortage and compensation. I can't remember where it was. I saw something about, it was through the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that the median pay back in 2020 was $47,130. And to me, that's chicken feed for a professional truck driver. I think they deserve to be paid more, better benefits. They underpaid and undervalued tremendously. And, I was talking with someone a few days ago about that. I was like, it'd be nice if everyone can pay them what Walmart I see is paying, I think like $95,000 the first year up to $110,000. But then on the flip side of that, as me and this gentleman was talking, unfortunately, not everybody's going to be able to meet that price or even come close, because it may wind up driving out a lot of the mom and pop businesses or smaller businesses because they can't keep up with that type of price level,
Yeah, we did see, and it was exciting for us to see that over the last 2 years with COVID coming in, with that freight surge coming up, boy, we saw pay raises go out more than we've ever seen before across the industry. Finally rewarding those drivers, and again, rewarding the safe drivers. One thing I've always encouraged companies, and we encourage, and we talk to drivers about that. Let me tell you something. A good driver today, and there's a big difference between today and 15 or 10 years ago. A good driver 10 years ago, Dave, was what?
A guy that could run 5,000 miles in a week.
Today, it's that driver that drives safe. Safety pays today. We want to remind each and every one of you out there driving, there's nothing more important today than your CDL. Protect it. Make sure you're driving safe and you're not distracted, you're not fatigued, that you're doing all you can to protect life. Man, I'm going to tell you, Derek, what we talk about, and I want to hear it from you as we close out. We talk about protecting life, and when we're out there making decisions on the road, whether we're a car, a big truck, our only objective out there really should be to protect lives, to get everybody back home to their families. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I definitely believe that is first and foremost above anything. And I do believe, just like at the job that I work at, and I know some other jobs, it should be some type of incentive pay every trucking company for, if a driver goes for whatever period of time, whether 6 months or whatever, some type of incentive, money incentive or something of that nature to reward them for their safe driving and whatnot, and to actually help give them another incentive to really focus on safety. Because like you said, you want everybody to get home, not just the truck driver, professional truck driver. You want everybody around them all over the interstate and highways and everybody to get home too. You don't want to cause any accidents. So I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Hey, Derek, I go ahead. If anybody wants to listen to you, how do they listen to you at Trucking Entrepreneurs Podcast? How do they listen to your podcast?
Very easy, by visiting www.thetruckingentrepreneurs.podcast.com. I'm also located on all major podcast channels: Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, etc.
All right, and I would encourage everybody to go out there and listen to Derek talk trucking out there on his podcast. And before you get out of here, Derek, we ask every guest that comes on to state their name, who they work for, and to say that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me?
I sure can. My name is Derek Williams, the Trucking Entrepreneurs Podcast, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB, the safest station in the nation. This is Double Check Dale. We're going to talk a little bit of weather, take a break, come back, talk some safety, and look at some videos. Let's start with the winds because once again, folks, they are making the news. Hey, this is winds currently, and we see some pretty strong winds already through central Texas, up through Oklahoma, Kansas, into Nebraska. And then the other area we're seeing a lot of strong winds is the higher elevations in New Mexico, out in Utah. And this is current, and so some of these winds are already in the 20s and 30s and gusting higher than that. This is this afternoon around 3 o'clock. Just look at these bright colors out here. Bright colors and the winds are not good. That means we're going to see some gusts in areas stronger than 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. The winds in Oklahoma up through Kansas and again into Nebraska. And now look at how Colorado and New Mexico, southern Wyoming, the winds there. So if you're out on 80 in Wyoming today, maybe going across Nebraska on 80, you are definitely going to encounter some windy situations. The other thing that's going on today is we have a chance for tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you, if we go to tomorrow, we're going to see the same winds, but they're going to be more up into the north. Look at Nebraska, South Dakota, parts of northwest Missouri, southern Iowa, northern Kansas tomorrow at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Look at the winds. North Platte, Nebraska is projecting gusts up to 57 miles an hour. Cannot drive in that, loaded or empty. So be aware that's what's going on for the winds tomorrow. We'll take a quick look at what's going on with precipitation, rain and thunder. Right there we go. Kick that back to current. Right now we're still seeing some thunderstorms, pretty strong ones right up there in the Kansas City area going across into central Missouri. And then parts of Nebraska starting to see some thunderstorms. A little bit of snow in the higher elevations out west. As we go into this afternoon, central Missouri all the way from Kansas City across to St. Louis is going to see some strong storms this afternoon. They've been getting a lot of rain, so be aware of the chances of localized flooding, flash flooding. Like I said, we're seeing some lightning in there, quite a bit of lightning. These are some pretty severe storms, so we want to be paying attention to that. Find yourself a good weather app or for that location that you're in and pay attention to what's going on with it. Other thing this afternoon, Nebraska and South Dakota, they are seeing quite a bit of rain right now, and I know there are some areas up in South Dakota that are expecting a lot of rain, and they're talking some flash flooding up there, so be aware of that's going on up in that direction. As we go to tomorrow, here's tomorrow morning. The storms seem to stretch out a little bit. We're looking at chances of rain from southern Oklahoma up through Arkansas, southern Missouri into Illinois, eastern Iowa, and then kicking back into the Dakotas. So it looks like we have a wet Saturday coming up for the central part of the United States. Temperature-wise, we're going to be really decent, real fair across the country. So with that, we're going to take a short break and come back and talk some safety.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road. You got to be prepared to stop, and when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights. You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today. Hey, and welcome back, everybody. BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here along with Double Check Dale. Thank you for the weather update, sir. I know, as we've been talking about all week, I know we've been talking about accident reporting. What are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about, we've been talking about tips. Today, calm. So if you're the person on the other end, you're the DM or the manager, the safety person, taking the call from that driver that's just been involved in an accident, stay calm. You're the voice of reason. You have that checklist in front of them. Talk to them. Make sure that they're okay. That's the first thing. You want to make sure that the driver's condition, calm them down, make sure they're doing well. And then, just be mindful, remind them, tips what to do. Be careful what's going on with them. Remind them that, if they're talking to anybody else out there, be careful what they say. Just stick with the facts, because once you say something, you can't unsay it. So just got to be careful. But again, just remember, you're the calm one. You're the one that's helping them through this tough time or traumatic time. And so you have to be the voice of reason. You have to be that calming voice.
Yeah, they're calling for help. They're calling for you. And, it's time to relax. It's time to get in. I know there's information that needs to be done. We need to get serious about it. But at the same time, we need to make sure that they're okay. And one of the best ways to make sure they're okay is to make sure you're okay when you're talking, and make sure you discipline that out, and you get that wording out that gives them a sense of comfort, that you know what you're doing, and you know what they need to do. And as y'all walk through it together, they're going to feel better, and they're going to absolutely feel better as they move through this process.
It's that bedside manner that you use with them that's going to make a world of difference with them, that's going to put them a little bit more at ease and help them to understand, hey, we'll get through this. It's not the end of the world. So it's just good bedside manner, being calm with them, staying patient with them.
Yep, and that calming voice, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not screaming at them.
Not screaming. What are you doing? What
are you thinking?
You can't. What are you thinking? No, that's not the time. That's not what needs to be done. What really needs to be done is that you ensure that they're safe, that they're okay, and that everybody around them, and that as you walk through this, everybody's going to be better.
Yeah, and listen to their voice, because a lot of times you can tell how they're feeling, how they're doing in their voice, the level of stress, or if they're down or upset and stuff. So be aware of that, and talk to that. If you hear that they're not doing well, just talk to them. Say, hey, let's slow down. Let's take a breath. We'll get this.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. With that, let's go ahead and see if we can't find some cool, awesome videos.
All right. We're going to open it up with the following to close, perhaps, and driving 73 miles an hour on top of that, Dale.
Yeah, I mean, here we're following too close. This is about 0.7 of a second. This is from Samsara. And up in the right-hand corner, we get that speed. And so the 73 isn't what's so alarming. We're in a 65-mile-an-hour zone, so we're speeding through there. And guess what? If we're not speeding, we're not following too close in this case. So it just really goes back to reemphasize the speed and the space. If we do the speed limit a couple miles slower than that, traffic is going to be pulling away from us, and then we don't get in these type of situations.
Yeah, we're not moving away from the vehicle. We need to realize, we need to count. You got all these other indicators out there. You got a lot going on out there. A lot of things, maybe in-cab signaling and ELD devices warning you, but really the driver needs to understand that he's only a few car lengths away from the vehicle in front. And if you count those lines as he passes one of those lines on the road, counts out the seconds, realizes they're definitely way too close and needs to either move over or find a different lane or back off just a little bit.
Take the cruise off, just slow down a little bit,
back
and let
off.
it pull away.
Yeah.
All right. What about a car in the cross traffic? Light was red. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, our light's been green for a while. And no doubt that car in the cross traffic, that was a very red light there. And so, it goes to show that patience of not getting out there. We talk about it time and time again. Well, what if the other car's timing that light? What if this car had been timing the light? You see these go through these red lights all the time. Just be patient. Make sure you do that double check, look a second time before you start going out there.
Unfortunately, it could be even something, not just timing. And the driver could not have been paying attention. Could have been distracted. Yeah, been 100% distracted. Never even saw that it was red. Never even paid attention and just went through it. You got to be mindful of what's going on out there, because distractions are real and distracted driving is real. And there will be moments like this that will happen. And it could have been red for a long, long time, which it was. Doesn't look like they ever slowed down.
No.
And maybe you've gunned it. But you know what? Whatever it is, you've got to be mindful that these kinds of look both ways before you proceed, always in these intersections, even though you've green, whoom.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot here in the dangerous area.
And it's even a box truck ran it if you look at that one.
So ran the yellow. For sure.
It wasn't slowing down for, here we go. Space, spaces we talk about. Oh, this one. Dave, you think if that pickup and camper gets a little bit closer, that big truck's going to go faster? I don't think so. And one of the things we talk about, and I hear you say all the time, most of the time the people pulling these campers and these trailers may not have the amount of experience that, you know, professional drivers do.
No way.
He's really putting himself in a bad situation there. He is just way too close, needs to back off out of it. Driver that took this video is doing a nice job because you see everything's just still kind of pulling away from him.
So here you are in the big truck, and I'm just going to tell you, you look in your mirrors in the big truck, you can see down the side of your truck. You can't see this pickup at all if he's behind you this close. There's nothing about this truck you can see, but you can see the camper back there. you think you're towing. Now you think you're towing 2 trailers. But this right here is you're going to encounter these too closes in this too close environment and all that's going on here. If you're in this situation and you're driving along and you see this beside you, I do like the fact that this driver showed this video, recorded this video, and sent this in, because this wouldn't come up normally. The driver actually sent this in. What I'll tell you, if you see this, get away from this a little bit, back yourself off a little bit, get out of this environment. This environment's dangerous. This is a bad formula for a difficult situation that's going to turn ugly if something occurs. Now, I understand what's going on here. I know the driver's wanting this truck to speed up and pass so he can go around and get out there and go 90 miles an hour with a camper trailer, which is a great idea in and of itself. But really get away from this situation. If you find yourself around this, back off a little bit, give them a little bit more room, because this is a bad formula.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of space, check this one out.
Yeah, just a great video here. Just the speed and the space. You know, we talk about it every day about managing it. And the driver in this video is doing a great job. Had great space. You know, traffic comes to a big slowdown, maybe even a stop. Has plenty of room. Owns the space in front of him. Just a great video to share.
You know, and kudos to the driver on this video. I like this video for a couple of reasons. Number one, he doesn't try to jump lanes, doesn't try to change lanes right away. Manages the lane he's in, but more importantly, they are paying attention to what's going on in the road, right? There's no distraction. When you see a good reaction like this, you know that the driver is paying attention 100%, knowing that they're coming to a slowing down like this. And you can see plenty of concrete between you and the vehicle in front of you 100%. And you know what? This is not a distracted driver. This is a driver paying attention to what's out there.
He's being the professional driver doing it.
All right, and we take time to celebrate the professional driver that stops at a red light.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and there's so much going on in this. When we look at it, you know, this truck, you know, cuts us off, jumps in front of us, and then runs through a red light. This driver's already slowing down for it, knows it's still green case. And so just a great one. We want to celebrate, like Rick said, the good things, and this is definitely a good thing. This driver's paying attention again, sees the big picture, knows what's going on. But look, like I said, how many different intersections and what else is all going on in this video. So interesting video, good video.
Yeah, you know, and a couple of things I like about this video is, even though that truck moves over in front of us and takes away all of our space, the driver actually slows down dramatically in order to allow that truck to get out. And then, you know, there it is, red light action. You know, not going to happen to this driver. Not surprised at all.
Nope.
Hey, buddy, I got you. Let me show you how it's done.
That's right.
Let me show you what the professional driver can do here. Back off, slow down, and stop.
And not lead anybody through that intersection.
Not need to, and gets a better, bigger picture. You know, a lot of things going on here in this video, and I understand hanging on. You know, you got a nice turn lane which allows space between you and oncoming traffic, which I do like a lot. And I like where the drivers position themselves in this road, not hugging the curb, better able to see, get a better, bigger picture, and it's staying away from this new growth in these trees. Also, that can propose a danger also out there as you're close to the curb and those trees, not being able to see, not being able to do. This position right here that the driver's in is a good driving position for the big truck out there in these middle roads.
As we look at the last video here, we're going to see one here. It's a nighttime video. We have a left-hand turn, and you know, is driver lost, confused, tired? So many things that go through your mind when we watch this one.
Yeah, you know, we're coming up to a stoplight here. We're in the lane. It's a green, and keeps going like he's going to go through it, and then all of a sudden we start to make this left-hand turn, realizes, and now we're in the middle of the intersection. that, hey, I've got a red light on the turn, so I'm not in the right turn lane. And sometimes I get it that, you know, we need to make those wide turns, but we're not in the right lane. We're not doing it the right way, and it's a red light. So you just got to, you know, I get to thinking about what's going on. Is the driver distracted? Is he tired? Did he miss the, you know, look at the GPS wrong? And so just have to step back and make sure that we're aware of where we're at.
There's a couple of things here that concern me. Number one, there's typically plenty of room in the left-hand turn lane to make a left-hand turn because look at the size of the median right here. I think there's a plenty of room to make the turn. If you find yourself missing the turn, go up. Don't leave yourself out in the middle of the intersection. Go up. Go ahead and go forward. Go to the next intersection and turn left. Go up around it and go around that way. Don't do that. And the other thing that alarms me here is that he might be positioning himself for a U-turn in the road. And if he does that, he's left himself hanging out way out here. So I don't know what's going on here, but there's a couple of concerning factors here. I don't know if the driver was trying to U-turn, if he truly was going to be making a left, or what have you. Because usually when a driver sets this far out into the lane, I almost want to think that the driver's trying to go around this median and come back the other direction. And if that be the case, this isn't a good position to do it and a good place. Remember, it's nighttime. It's dark. Go around the blocks.
Dave, you're suggesting that perhaps there's a U-turn coming up here?
No, I'm suggesting the driver might be positioning himself to turn around using the entire road, even the green light and this intersection and this median space, because he has quite a bit in order to do that, if not just taking a left-hand turn. But for me, I say go up and use the blocks. You know, 3 right-hand turns will get you that same U-turn if you're not careful.
That's right. And most companies, and us being one of them, do not want to see any drivers do U-turns out on the roadway. And then if that's what he's setting up for, that's the wrong idea. And like you said, just go to the next exit. And even where he's at right now, needs to just change his course here and gets out of that intersection, take that green light, and continue going forward.
Yeah, it's concerning. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but you might be right. It may just have been lost and then realized at the last minute. But you need to get over and get out of the lane, because they see the green light way up there. It's a whole lot easier to see that than it is to see the little bitty lights that are on the clearance lights and the brake lights. So that green light is telling them all the while, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then all of a sudden they find a truck hanging out halfway into their intersection. It can make itself very dangerous. All right, some cool videos, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always some good stuff, and I love celebrating the good ones, and I love learning from the ones where there's something to pick up and learn from and to get better, so we can improve ourselves. So yeah, all right. It's a good video.
All right, we hope, and if you know what, we hope you learned something from the videos today and that you gather some much needed information. We want to always bring these videos to you because we think the continuous going over them, the learning of them, and the identifying of what goes on out there with the big trucks is always going to be for you. We're watching tape, right? We're watching tape of the professionals out there on the road, and we continue to watch great tape. We'll continue to learn more and more out there each day. All right, we're going to say a quick prayer and get out of here today. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today to ask for your grace in all things. We ask that you protect us, guide us, and show us the way. Help us make better decisions out there on the road for you and for everyone around us. Help us to develop the passion we need for safety and to share it with others as we move forward today. We ask all these things in your name, we pray. Amen. All right, guys. Have a great and wonderful day. We'll see y'all on Monday. Have a wonderful, wonderful BCB Live.
Safest station in the nation.
That's what he says every time.